The fluorescent lights above flickered in tandem with my pulse as I stepped into the dimly lit archive room. The air was stale and heavy with the scent of aged paper. My name tag read Kaelin Vex, and I had to admit that I felt a thrill of excitement, if not pride, every time I wore it. As an assistant archivist, I was responsible for cataloging and organizing the vast collection of documents stored within these walls. My coworker, Zareen Khorasani, was already seated at her workstation, her eyes fixed intently on the screen in front of her. She nodded in my direction without looking up, a silent acknowledgement that we were both here to get the job done. I took my seat across from Zareen and began booting up my computer. As I waited for it to load, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. It wasn't anything specific, just a nagging sense of unease that had been growing inside me since yesterday's lunch break. I pushed the thought aside and focused on the task at hand. The archive room was divided into two sections. The public access area where patrons could browse through digitized documents, and the restricted section where sensitive materials were stored. Zareen and I worked in the latter, handling requests from researchers and historians who required access to the more delicate files. As I began processing a stack of dusty files, I noticed that the air conditioning unit above us seemed to be humming at an odd frequency. It wasn't loud enough to be distracting, but it was there. A constant low-pitched whine that seemed to vibrate through every cell in my body. I exchanged a glance with Zareen, wondering if she'd heard it too, but her expression remained neutral. The documents in front of me were all labeled classified, eyes only. I had processed these files countless times before, but something about them today felt off. The papers themselves seemed to shift and ripple as I turned the pages, like the surface of a pond disturbed by a thrown stone. I caught myself wondering if I was just seeing things. Or worse, if the documents were somehow changing in real time. I shook my head, chiding myself for being paranoid. It was probably just fatigue or a side effect of too much caffeine. But as I continued to work, the feeling only intensified. The fluorescent lights above grew brighter, illuminating the fine lines etched on Zareen's face as she worked. Her eyes, normally bright and inquisitive, seemed dull and lifeless. I glanced at my name tag again, a shiver running down my spine. Kaelin Vex. What did it mean to be me?